What's up, guys? I hope everyone's having a good week. Welcome to May, and if you guys don't know, May is actually recognized as Mental Health Awareness Month. And this video is basically about that. Today specifically, I'll be talking about opioid use disorder. So let's start. What is an opioid? Opiates are drugs that treat pain. It's a pain reliever. Some common legal opiate drugs are morphine, meperidine, codeine, hydrocodone, oxycodone, and fentanyl. People who start with these prescription drugs eventually may build a tolerance to it. From using it too much, they could eventually become dependent on the drug and ultimately become addicted, which leads them to drug-seeking behaviors. Sadly, it could turn into the path of heroin use. According to drugabuse.gov, people that take heroin can use it by injecting, snorting, or smoking. So what happens physically when you take it, and why does it become so addicting? When an individual takes opiate, the drug enters the brain through the bloodstream, creating a flood of artificial endorphins and dopamine. This creates such a rush of happiness and euphoria. This is one of the main reasons why opiates are so highly addicting and why opiates are such a problem in our community. Now we know the background of opiates, now we can define opiate use disorder. According to DSM, opiate use disorder includes signs and symptoms that reflect compulsive, prolonged self-administration of opiate substances that are used for no legitimate medical purpose, or if another medical condition is present that requires opiate treatment that are used in doses greatly in excess of amount needed for that medical condition. In other words, when someone uses it when they don't need it, or if you need it but use too much of it. Opiates are usually purchased illegally, but may also be obtained by physicians by falsifying or exaggerating general medical conditions, or by receiving simultaneous prescriptions from different physicians. Why is it so deadly? According to the recoveryvillage.com, opioids gives you happiness of high, but the drug also slows down your breathing. And when you overdose, basically your body forgets how to breathe. So you may ask, is there a crisis in Long Island? And for some of you, you already know the answer to that. But how specifically is it affecting Nassau County and Levittown itself? Well, take a look at this chart right here. This is a chart of communities with at least 2 overdose deaths for the last 3 years. If you look, you could see Levittown has been on this chart for the last 3 years, and in 2016, an alarming 12 deaths. Sadly, I know for a fact that someone watching this video knows someone personally that's been affected by this opioid crisis. With that being said, what is being done in our community to fight this problem? And how do we prevent opioid drug poisoning and overdoses? First, I want to give a shout out to Levittown Libraries. Without you guys, I would not be able to make this video. Because of Levittown Libraries, I saw this flyer and I thought it was a great opportunity for me to check it out. This flyer is about Narcan Training Community Forum. Basically, they train you how to use Narcan to revive someone who is overdosing. The reason why I'm doing this is because I want to share that there is opportunity for someone to help someone. Narcan basically is the antidote of an opioid overdose. And our very own Nassau County legislator, John R. Ferretti Jr., hosted this Narcan training.
I'm Nassau County Legislator John Ferretti, and I was very proud tonight to host an event here at the Levittown Public Library where Councilman Anthony Adesposito instructed people on how to use a life-saving drug, Narcan, for people who overdose on opioids. Unfortunately, we have an epidemic here in Nassau County, and it's really an epidemic that spans all different demographics and all different parts of this country. But specifically here in Nassau County, as a Nassau County legislator, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure people know about this epidemic and what they can do to prevent it, and in the unfortunate situation they're in the presence of someone who has overdosed, how to save someone's life. And tonight, we had a very good crowd here today to learn how to administer the Narcan drug. Aside from holding these classes, I think it's important that as a legislator, we do everything in our power as a board to pass laws that prevent this epidemic from growing. And one of those laws that I think was important that we've passed was the social host law here in Nassau County. Now, the social host law is a law that penalizes an adult, 18 and over, who is allowing someone to drink on their property knowingly, or they should have known that that person was underage. They will be fined. We have expanded that in the county legislature to include illegal substances. such as opioids. So now, if you are 18 and over and you know or should have known that someone is drinking or doing illegal substances on your property, you will be fined. And I think that's going to go a long way to really putting an end, hopefully, to this epidemic. So if you're out there and you're watching this, we're going to be holding more of these training classes. We're going to be educating people on this. I really think it would be great if you could come to our next training class. Thank you so much.
Fun fact, he actually grew up in Levittown. Councilman Anthony Adesposito was the leader of this training, and he did an excellent job. It was a very simple training. It took like an hour. I don't even know if it took an hour. It was that quick. Narcan, what is it? It's this right here. It's a drug to revive someone who's overdosing. It's a nasal spray, basically. You put it in the nose of the person who's overdosing. I'm not a doctor. I don't know how long it takes for someone to revive from it, but if you take the training, they'll explain everything much better than I can. Back in 2014, I was actually Narcan certified, but back then, it was actually you used needles instead of easy nasal sprays. So you can tell that opioid crisis is such a big problem, they had to make it easier for people to use. Because just imagine using a needle, shaking, you're nervous, you're sweating. They just made it so simple for people to use. This right here could save someone's life. I totally recommend taking the training. If you want one, you just go ahead, call, and you'll attend a training program. It takes less than an hour. If you have any questions, definitely call. I also was lucky enough to interview Councilman Anthony Adesposito, and this is what he had to say.
So in 2016, when I was appointed to the Hempstead Town Board, after coming from a career in the NYPD and being an ex-chief from the Allen Park Fire Department, I really thought that the town of Hempstead wasn't doing enough, if anything, to really combat the opioid epidemic here in Nassau County and Long Island. So spearheaded a cause to start personally teaching and training communities throughout the town of Hempstead in Narcan, how to identify opioid overdoses, and now how to make sure that we keep our kids safe from opioid poisoning. So so far I've distributed over 1,700 Narcan kits, trained close to 2,000 people. So it's every day we're expanding the program, reaching out to more and more people, raising awareness and making sure that our youth, as all the way to our senior citizens, know that the town of Hempstead is here. I am here to make sure that we can give them all the resources necessary to help save a life.
I hope you guys learned a little bit from this. If I said something that is not true, please correct me. If you guys can share this video, that'd be much appreciated, because it doesn't help me, it's helping the people out there who may need it. If you guys have any questions about Narcan, I'll put all the links down below or above. But yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you guys have a good week.